This is supposedly the quietest helmet you can get in 2024, as voted and tested by Champion Helmets. I was so intrigued, I needed to replace my old Scorpion. I went out and bought myself an HJC RPHA 91, this one in carbon, and then I went and tested it myself. Can you ride this helmet without earplugs in? Is it really that quiet? And what are the other features that attracted me to it? Welcome to my review of the HJC RPHA 91, in this case, the carbon. The RPHA 91 comes in many different styles and colors, as does the regular non-carbon one. They're an attractive looking helmet. They've got lots and lots of features. There are lots of reasons I bought this helmet, but perhaps the number one feature I was interested in is how quiet is this helmet. I'm a motovlogger. You can see this attached to the front here. They don't come with these. I put that on, so if you're not liking the look of that, that's okay. When you buy yours, it won't have it on there. But I'm a motovlogger, and above all for me, I really like to cut down on the wind noise on a helmet. So that was one big attraction to it. The second one is it comes in carbon, so it's particularly light compared with some other models, although not as light as some other helmets I have in carbon. The HJC RPHA 91 is HJC's top-end helmet. It's got a lot of different features, as I mentioned. It's there to compete with Schuberth, Arise, and even, yes, kneel in the presence, the Schuberth C5 and of course the Schuberth E2. How quiet is this compared with those? Apparently it's quieter according to Champion Helmets, who tested this. Same way they test all helmets. It was behind a screen on a BMW at 130 kilometers an hour, and this came out, in fact the brother of this, the non-carbon version, came out at 95 decibels. This one itself is apparently, according to their testing, came out to 96 decibels, still the quietest helmet by some way compared with the Schuberth. The helmet is well made, as you would expect for a $600-700 helmet, $800 helmet. It's a very, very well made helmet. I do have some gripes with it. It is this one is in carbon, and the shell is indeed carbon. The front here, and I'll tell you about this in a minute. One of the other reasons I got this helmet is because it is a modular helmet, and as you can see, it lifts up here, and you can see that it opens right up, and that's handy because it is so quiet. This area around here is very tight to your head. That's how they keep a lot of the sound out around here. And because this is so quiet, the only way that I can get this on is with it open. I can get it on with it closed, but it's you can see my ears don't stick out that much, and it is fairly tight, fairly painful. So keeping this open to get it on is a big yes, you got to do it. So thankfully, this is a modular helmet, and that's probably what makes it quite quiet. Now, some of you are going to say, well, it's a modular helmet. It's got extra seams. That's going to increase the noise. I would agree with you that probably if they made this in a non-modular fashion, this exact body with the same closed orifice here, it would be even quieter, but I'm not sure how you'd get that on, in my experience. The second thing about it is, yes, it's all carbon, but this, as I was mentioning before, this chin piece here on the modular helmet, the carbon is different. Whether this is a different material and with a carbon veneer over the top of it, a faux carbon veneer, I don't know. They advertise it as carbon. It weighs, let me see, 1,650 grams. Still not particularly light when you think of carbon. I've got some Nex XG100Rs. I love those helmets. I've got several different models of that helmet. That comes in at 1,250 in the carbon, 1,350 in the mixed fiberglass carbon. So that's a good 300 grams lighter than this. This offers a lot of different features. One, as I showed you, it is a modular. It's comfortable, and I really quite like the idea of a modular helmet so that I can, get a breath of fresh air. This is JP certified, meaning that I can lock this up here, and then I can ride with this open legally. Some of you are going to say, well, your eyes are going to take a beating, and I'm going to say to you, well, it's got an internal sun visor. So that's another nice feature. I rarely get helmets now that don't have internal sun visors, apart from sort of fashion helmets or super light helmets like the Nex XG100R, which you can no longer get, by the way. So again, this is locked up with this little red tab here. To unlock it, so you want to get it down, pull the gray tab back, it comes down. This takes a while to figure out when you're riding. Eventually it becomes natural. Like every other helmet you've got, you just know where things fall to place. But I have a Scorpion, which this is replacing, and this Scorpion has its visor up here. And it's really hard for my muscle memory to remember that this one is down here. It's semi-awkward for me, but actually not too hard to find when you find the bottom of the helmet. It does make sense. With this, it takes a while for me to find and remember that. But once I've done that, I can then lower this and it will lock down. So it now becomes a full face helmet. Perhaps the most important feature that we take for granted is ventilation. This is a very, very well vented helmet. So I can open this. It's got two detents here. 1, 2. So there's an air inlet. There's another air inlet. I've got the eyebrow vents open, as you can see here. You can close those fairly simply. Okay, and they open. It lets a lot of air in, but you won't get a lot of air flowing through it unless you open the rear vent. I'm not sure why they have that. Just having a passive rear vent would be just as good. You're not going to flow any air unless this vent is open anyway. So, and if these vents are closed, no air is going through. So I'm not sure why we have that, but it's there anyway. And I would just leave it on open and then control how much air comes in with this. You're not getting much air through this tiny orifice here because of this big collar cuff here. You're not getting air coming up through here. This vent being open is not going to draw air through the base of your neck here. Very little gets through. Yeah, keeping it open all the time for me seems to do the trick. Visor replacement's very, very simple. You can see them here, red buttons here. These literally pop either side and out it comes. It's that simple. If I had a couple of qualms about this helmet, one, before I even rode with it, I felt that the detents were rather weak. Now there are lots of them, which is a real advantage. I can close this right down to here. Okay, and it allows a little bit of air in. Some of my helmets, the first detent is quite wide. This one's nice and narrow. It, in fact, there it is shut. Whoop. And there's the first detent. But as I said, they're weak. As you could see me faffing around trying to keep it in that first detent. They're quite weak when they go up. Now, I was concerned that when I turned my head sideways with this up, that it would flip down like the old visors used to. It hasn't happened yet, which is surprising to me. Whether as I use this more and more, and the detents tend to wear in, they tend to get even weaker with helmets. I don't know if you've noticed, as you use them for a few years, they tend to get easier to move up and down. Whether that will start to become an issue, I don't know. Okay, so not sure about that. Other feature it has is at the back here, you can put in HJC's own comm system, which is made by Senna. It fits in here, and there's also a side panel here that you can take off and fit it in there. So they have a special comm system made for this. I'll flip it up on the screen now and let you know what that is. But yeah, it's your call whether you go with that one. Of course, you can fit any comm system to this helmet. It would be on the outside, and that would, of course, make it a little more noisy for you and increase drag as well. Aerodynamically, this helmet is very, very good, and I felt absolutely no drag from it at all. It fits really well and it slices through the air really, really well. It's not too high cut at the back, but it's high cut enough that you don't get collars and things rubbing on you. It's a good touring helmet, a good sport touring helmet. That's what this would be. I wouldn't take it to the track. You'd probably want a higher cut helmet. You may not need all the features this has in it. Maybe make it a little lighter for you, seeing as you're being very energetic. As this is 1,600 grams, it's no real lightweight. It's I would say a good middle of the road helmet. It's a little heavier than the HJC RPHA 90 that predated this helmet. Now, as for noise, well, let's get to the bike.
Okay, so after riding for a few minutes or so, my first impressions of the helmet is, yeah, it is quiet. Not quiet enough, I think, to wear without ear protection, in case you're wondering that, but it is certainly quite quiet. I'm completely open, my head is in the breeze. I'm well aware that there's always clean airflow over this bike. It's super comfortable. It's fairly light, but I am used to a lighter one, the next XG100R, and it's very comfortable. I'm feeling no pressure points at all at this point in time. I find it much easier to get the helmet on because of the tight collar around the base of the helmet, to have it open in the modular helmet fashion. I've heard that this visor comes down and the detents are not very good, but if I have a negative about this helmet, it is that the detents, although they're very fine and close together and you've got a lot of options here, it is that they are not very strong, and I have the feeling that going fast enough this would slam down. Helmet is super quiet at these speeds. I'm starting to get used to the position of the different controls on this helmet, as in how do I flip up the visor, and it's somewhere down here. There we go, quite far back actually. There it is, works. I would say that while it is quiet, that wouldn't be the reason I'd buy this helmet. It's certainly not as quiet as I imagined it would be. I thought I would be okay with no earplugs in this helmet, but that is not the case. It's certainly not incredibly quiet. I shall have to take the earplugs out on the next stint of the journey for a short period of time and experience what it is like. As for the pressure points and comfort, immensely comfortable, very padded, very soft. There are no loose sounding vents or anything like that. Speaking of the vents, that's open, and they've got some eyebrow vents up here. Aha, I think that's open, and that's open, there we go. Yeah, I'm feeling it up around the eyebrows, that's quite good. A little bit of ventage up around the eyebrows. That's closed. That's full open. There is a detente, so there's hard to... Ah, there's one. And there's two. And at this speed, not noticing that much difference between 1 and 2. Now don't forget, this is PJ certified, which means that I am allowed to ride with the visor up. See how easy that is for me to figure out. Here we go, there's the... Your camera's going to go skying here, but oh well. Up it goes. Got the camera hanging below, so it's not the perfect view. It's held up there. It still allows you to have the shield down. There we go, shield up, shield down. So you've got some eye protection in this helmet, but I know up here somewhere, I'm going to keep my eyes on the road, is some way of, oh there we go, that's locked up now. Now if I pull that down, yeah, there we go, comes down nicely and locks into place. Yeah, and the vents are working. There's a lot more air obviously with that modular part in the up position. Not sure how the mic's working out. I did give it a brief test on the HJC RPHA 91 carbon helmet. The one thing I have noticed is the buckle. Now I have the non-double D ring buckle. Don't know if that's a European only version. This came from Europe, this helmet. I had it shipped over here. So it has, instead of the dot on the back, which it is a dot, is it 218? It is a dot legal helmet. Instead of that, it's got the ECE 2206, I think it is. It's just the buckle is just perhaps a little uncomfortable. Whether there is a padded flap that's supposed to be underneath it, and I don't think I have it there. I think it folded back on itself, which is my fault. But having said that, if I had my druthers, I would get the one with the double D in it, if you have the choice. I think you do in North America. I think they come with the double D. I could be wrong. I will try to double check that and get that up on the screen. So the earplugs are out and I'm riding along, and yes, it is reasonably quieter than many other helmets I've ever ridden with, but not quiet enough in my opinion to ride without earplugs. I'm doing not that fast right now, and it's not deafening, but and it's quite livable, but for sure I would say that you would need earplugs with this helmet. I think you should have earplugs with every helmet, so I'm always going to say that anyway, but there's definite windage.
So there you have it. Overall, I'm quite happy with the helmet. It's a wonderfully comfortable helmet for me. I'm an intermediate oval. I'm usually a medium in helmets, and this is a medium. It is snug, but it fits perfectly. No, I don't like helmets that move around in the wind. I don't like when I shake my head to feel the helmet move at all. So I'm very happy with the fit of this helmet. The finish of the helmet's pretty good. I would give it an 8 out of 10. I'm probably not quite as good as some real upmarket Arise or Shui's, and it's certainly not as good as my Nex helmets are either. I was looking at some Nex helmets, and now that we know that this is not a helmet you can wear without earplugs, it is not a helmet that is unbelievably quiet compared with any other helmet you've ever worn. Would I buy this again? You know, it's too early for me to say that. I'm going to need to ride with this for a year or so, and I will get back to you on whether I'd actually buy this again, how it lasts, whether rattles come into it. It doesn't feel cheap, but at the same time, it doesn't feel as high quality as perhaps my Nex helmets do as either. So overall, happy with the helmet, somewhat underwhelmed by the quietness. I guess I was expecting to be able to wear this helmet without earplugs. I possibly could behind a shield or a screen like on my V-Strom, but on my Z900RS or on my Moto Guzzi Grigio, where I'm on a naked bike, earplugs are an absolute must. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ra!
Once again, thanks for watching everyone. If this is the first time you've watched, please consider subscribing. I do motorcycle reviews, motorcycle related product reviews, off-road and on-road vlogs as well as tours. Even though I'm not the most diligent poster, don't forget to follow me on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And to like. And especially, I'm begging you here folks, subscribe. And don't forget to click the bell so that you're notified whenever I release a video. This is the BlueMarbleRider, out.